Welcome to the Curiosity Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Brown. I explore my curiosity of really weird things, existential things, pop culture stuff, spiritual phenomena, animals, and all the other things with subject matter experts. What isn't there to be curious about? In today's episode, I explore my curiosity with singing. A gift I do not have. But there are some with the undeniable gift of singing, like Whitney Houston, Charlie Wilson, Brandy, Bron Isley, and Usher. And people on social media have their own thoughts when it comes to singing. Here's what they're saying in the comments. So who better to unpack my curiosity with singing than two singers? First up, I'm joined by Kiarri Andrews, who inherited the gift of song from his mother after she was in a trio in the 60s and 70s with her two sisters known as Love, Devotion, and Happiness. He's now a musical theater singer who has performed off-Broadway and in regional theaters in shows like Rent, Ragtime, Naked Boy Singing, yes, that is literally what it was, and most recently, Porgy Bess, where he played the titular character, Porgy. Second up, Ashia Vu. Ashia is a New York recording artist with a church foundation that likens herself to the vocal stylings of Jhené Aiko. Drawing inspiration from Sade and Aaliyah, Ashia gives you that acoustic instrumentation and vulnerable lyricism that pairs so well in contemporary R&B. So let's get into my curiosity. What's up with singing? Featuring Kiarri Andrews and Ashia Vu. Hi, Kiarri. Hi, Ashia.
Hello.
Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of the Curiosity Podcast, where we are going to unpack my curiosity with singing. And to start off, I've always wanted to sing, but the Lord did not bless me with it, okay? He didn't bless me with it. I don't think that he did, but I may still have some delusion, maybe, that it's a hidden talent. So the first question I want to know, starting with you, Ashia, can singing even be a hidden talent?
So I used to think it did. And when I was younger, I had a younger sister. I'm the oldest. And I would make her sing with me because I knew that I could sing. And I was like, sing with me. And she was like, I can't. And I was like, yes, you can. And I was like I don't even know if I could do that or what I did at that time, but I was trying to teach her how to sing. And I was like, you got to do it like this. And she was like, I cannot hold a note. And I was like convinced. I was like, no, everybody can sing. You just have to like do it like this. And she was like, no, that's not working. And that's when I realized like, okay, it's definitely a gift that people have. You can learn, but some people have a gift. A lot of the like super talented singers, that's a real true gift. So, yeah.
So when you say that you knew, because what I'm hearing is you're like, this thing that just comes naturally to me. So of course my sister is going to be able to do this.
Right.
Right. So when she said, no, sister, I can't, you're like, oh, this is like a thing.
I was
This
like,
is
what
a
do you
special thing.
mean? Yeah. I was like, what do you mean? I couldn't understand why she couldn't sing. Like I was so confused.
As with all
So,
gifts, that's how people are. Wow. Kiarri, do you believe singing can be a hidden talent?
Yes and no. Okay, so I think it can be. Um, it can be a hidden. I say yes and no because it can be hidden, and then that it's not immediately known. But there is, as Aisha was saying, there's an aspect of it that's innate. There's an aspect of it that's taught, and I think that it can grow right from something small, but it just miraculously appear not outside of like TV and film.
Yes.
It's not one of those things because a lot of people can do it. Many people can do it well. Not a lot of people can do it great. And then there are
Exactly.
the exceptional ones. And at every single level, there's a cultivating of that talent, right? And you have to really nurture it in order to grow, I guess, or either into it based on your viewpoint. So yeah, I to as Asia was saying, I was born to I was the baby born to my mom. My two older sisters are 17 years and 13 years older than me, so I was very much a surprise. And my mother was a singer, and so my two sisters, her two daughters, are tone deaf. Like
Don't do them like that. Don't do my family like that.
they are actually tone deaf. I was sitting in the car when Waterfalls came out, and I was like, we were like 9, 10, and the middle sister Rachel was singing along to it, and I thought she was joking.
You
Like I really thought she was pretending. She said, "Don't go wasting water," and I was like, "Oh, that's so fun." And then I said, "Oh, you really can't." Oh wow, I thought that was something made up. I didn't know that people couldn't hear. So to your question about whether or not it's hidden, I think you people know, and then there's delusion,
which I might have. So Asia said she knew she could sing. Key, for listeners, Kiarri is now Key. I will be calling him Key.
Okay. I'm with it.
Key, when did you know that you could sing?
Oh, when did I know? Again, this is back to my mama. She used to have, and I don't know how old Asia is, Jen. I know how old you are, but we come from.
You get on my nerves.
We know, yeah. But we come from a generation that had records, right? And so my mom, Auntie Josie, Auntie Yuki, they all had crates, those like milk crates full of records, and I would play them after I was trusted enough to actually use the record player, and I could sing along with them. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I can mimic what they were doing. And it was not probably when I discovered Whitney that I was like, oh, I started to be able to do things with my voice because I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to be able to because Whitney did it. So let me try. And I think I was probably around 7 or 8-ish when I started to just like, it was mimicking. And I was doing it one day to maybe Michael Bolton.
Hey, a
and
legend.
My mom was like, she said, wait, do that again. And then like she stopped. I was playing, and it must have been a record player or cassette. She said, no, do it without here. And I did it. She said, oh, you can sing. She was so happy. Because again, sisters could not. So I think it was mimicking and like being able to actually hear the music internally, which is weird. It's a weird thing to like listen to a song and then to just have it in you is very weird. It's a weird feeling.
So both of you have the singing in you, but what exactly is singing, Asia? When I think, and I'm like about to give you a little prompt, I was listening to episode of the R&B, what is it called? R&B Money podcast with Tank and that light-skinned man. I don't remember his name, but he's very light-skinned. And Jamie Foxx was on there, and Jamie Foxx said that when he does impressions of people, he thinks of kind of becoming them in the way that they sing. Even though they're talking, he refers to talking as a type of singing. So I want to know, Asia, from your point of view, what is singing?
That is a great question. I never really thought of that question. I don't even know how to answer that, honestly. Like, if I'm being honest, like, I can, like, there's obviously the technical answer, which I'm not, like, super knowledgeable in, like, the technical terms. But yeah, I can't really answer that.
Okay. Kiarri?
Yeah, Asia, I hear you. It's like the and if I get this wrong, everybody's gonna make fun of me. But like the technical, physiological, actual action is wind being pushed through your vocal folds and cords uh, to produce different pitches and sounds. And so it's the same thing as talking, except when you are singing, your your throat changes shape a bit, and your vocal folds allow different sounds to move in at different rates, and at different, which creates the pitches that we hear. Now, if anybody hears this podcast and I'm wrong, keep it to yourself. That's it.
You explained that way better than I could.
Oh, let's hope that's right. That's what I think. This is what I'm drawing. Like, this is years ago. Somebody explaining it, and like one of my
Yeah.
years ago, and so
No, that sounds
about
like
right.
I've heard that from a vocal coach. So yeah.
And so like there's that aspect, and then it's the connection aspect, and being able to emote or being able to express something musically. Um, and singing has always been really interesting to me, especially now working around a lot of instrumentalists, and really beautifully trained instrumental musicians, because the voice is an imperfect instrument, right? It's still an instrument, but it is incredibly imperfect. And so like I watch these people who, can memorize 15 minutes of like Beethoven or Mozart and play it on a piano or on a violin or a cello, and they can do that almost any time they want, right? Like they could wake up and play a full concerto if they wanted to. If when I wake up, I need about 3-4 hours before I can really even start to sing. And so it's always like, it always for me felt a little bit unfair, because I'm like, if I could remove this and just play it, give me a harp or something. Like I would rather that, like, than I'm grateful to be able to sing, but it's not always the funnest because
Very true.
you have to be in good health, you have to be in good mindset, you have to
Yep.
be ready to do it. And if you don't feel like doing it, you got to be able to tell yourself, get over that. Like again, it's imperfect. And then don't have allergies. Don't get sick, right? It's, oh great, now I have to
Yeah.
sing around that.
Yeah. It's really rough. Or if you have like acid reflux like me, it's just like it's like a whole body thing, like singing, like so any type of off balance can affect your voice, even the smallest little thing.
Oh yeah. And the weird thing about being a singer is that you are so aware. Like if you any type of allergies, now I just had to like switch my allergy medication because my previous I was using I'm not gonna say the brands because we ain't trying to get sued, but like I just had to switch them because the other one wasn't working anymore. Like as I'm getting older, my allergies are changing, the climate is changing, the seasons are super weird, and like if I wake up and I can do like I say certain words and I can hear like a weird like click or break, I said, oh well, won't be singing that song today. Like one of those. Nope. Yeah.
I've never heard of singing as a full body exercise. I only thought of singing from the throat, from the, as Kiarri explained,
Diaphragm.
or the diaphragm. I've never thought of it in that way. What other body parts am I sort of missing that play a part in singing?
It's because your body's all everything is connected and your emotions is connected to your voice and the way it can perform. Like if, for example, if you're feeling like on the sadder end and you try to sing, it's going to affect your voice versus if you're like in a happier mood, your voice will sound different. So it's just an emotional thing. And as far as your body, like you got to loosen up. Like if you're tight, the it restricts your voice. If you loosen up, like when you like do warm ups and stuff, you got to like loosen up. You got to like loosen your body, move your neck around. You have to do all of those things.
I fully agree. Like it, but and certainly the more advanced you are and the more demanding you are performing, like Beyonce does a full body warm up before like she sings.
I didn't know that.
She stretches, um, she stretches her full chest, full core, um, based on like what how much she's dancing, right? Because then don't be a dancer singer because now it's legs, now it's I mean that core, and then like really I would say like from up here and above, it needs to be loose. It needs to be
Up
I
where
would say
for
like
our audio.
mid chest, shoulders, neck, and then face. A lot of face. Like when I am about to warm up, I do weird like scrunch up things with my face, open it up because you're also activating a lot of your face muscles, and make sure my lips are good and moisturized up. Because if you try to sing and sing a certain thing with dry lips, you could crack your lips open. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Yeah, yeah. Singing in
Aisha,
winter, singing in winter is different than singing in summer. It's weird.
We lost you for a second. Do you want to continue on your thought?
Oh, I don't even know how much you missed, but I was just basically saying like when you sing, you gotta kind of free your body and move your body around because if you're restricted, your voice will sound restricted, and we don't want that. So just being able to like move your body around and get your throat like really loose is, it's a part of the whole body experience with singing.
Hmm.
Okay, that's super helpful to know. Super helpful to know. Um, I want to talk about the genres of music that you two sing. What I'm familiar with, there might be areas I'm not familiar with. So, Key, you just came off of a revival of Porgy and Bess in Kansas City, Missouri. Um, when it comes to that kind of like genre, like what would you call that? I mean, is that just like is that stage singing? Is that what is that? What do you call that?
Um, Musical theater is what tends to
Okay.
what it falls under. Porgy and Bess originally opera, operetta, and now about I guess it was about 12 years or so ago they changed the opera to make it um, more accessible. So it wasn't all what we call legit singing. It was made more so that different characters could sing in different styles. So they had more soul, more jazz, more gospel infused into the operetta. And the opera and the legit singing. But my character playing Porgy, it's more legit than not. More than not. But because it's opened away from the opera, I was able to have a little bit more fun with it. So when it came down time to like do the big notes and whatnot, I'm not gonna lie, I was almost full legit. Like it was because it's you train yourself in a certain way, and so I was my mind even when I wasn't necessarily like feeling like if the note was there or not, my body was just like remember this. It's muscle memory in a way. Because again, this is muscle. These are all muscles in here, and you can very much train yourself to be able to do things at least similarly every single time if you want to. And that was one of my big goals with this production. I wanted to make sure I want to go in being more authentic as an actor and as a vocalist, and being more consistent. Because I feel like that's where I faltered in the past, and I was like, I want to make sure I correct those things. And so I trained very vertically. In fact, like, okay, you're going to do this, going to do this, going to do this. And then I just did it over and over again. So I had it by rote. But that kind of music is very, very much musical theater. If you see something on a stage, like, I would say like Tyler Perry plays, that's one specific type of singing, but that's definitely more R&B, gospel, soul. If you go to Broadway, based on the kind of show, it's going to be kind of poppy, but you're still free to call that all musical theater. Um, and now we're in an era where a lot of different pop songs are being put into reviews, and what I cannot remember the term right now. Is it review? Am I crazy? I might be wrong. But they're like the show and Juliet is all pop songs. So it's Backstreet Boys, Katy Perry, NSYNC, Britney, etc. And they take the songs and put them into a show, and now they've added a story around it. So that's still very pop, right? But it's on stage, so it's the singing is not what you would hear Britney Spears or Katy Perry doing on the record. It's what works for the stage production.
Okay. 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 I heard you give us a note. Can I hear that note again?
I don't remember the note. What?
Or give me anything. Give me anything because I want to mimic it. And I want you and Asia to tell me what is wrong because there will be nothing right about it. I already know that.
Okay.
Okay? Give me something based on my own voice, what you think, I could do or should do.
Okay.
Stretch.
We'll do something we'll do like a warm up.
Okay.
And so, Zia, Zia, Zia.
Oh my God. Okay, Keith.
Do it. You got it.
I'm sorry, listeners, for what's about to happen to your ears right now.
First note is Z.
Z.
Ia.
Ia.
Ah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Yeah, no, that was pretty close, and you connect it. So Zia.
Do I have a hidden talent? This is a hidden talent. Asia, from your perspective, what was I doing there?
You were sustaining.
I was sustaining. That's pretty good. I didn't know I could sustain. Okay. I can sustain a little bit. So when you hear somebody like me who actually wants to try and I think I'm hitting it, but also I'm not hitting it, what's wrong with my ears? Let's just assume I cannot get to a level of singing and damn near definitely can't do singing, okay? But what is it about my ears that is not connecting? That is for y'all. You talked about tone deaf, right, Asia? But is there like because tone deaf seems so extreme, right?
It's extreme.
What's the gray of that? Where it's maybe between sustain and tone deaf? What is that called?
Maybe Kiarri can answer, but I will say, one day I went to NYU they were like looking for people who could sing, and I think I misread it, and I did the exercise, and they were looking for people who couldn't hit the notes. So like they were hitting the notes on the piano, and I was repeating it exactly how I hear it sound. But they were like, "You're too like perfect. We were looking for people who hear that note and can't quite hit it." And that was when I realized, like, oh, like people must be hearing notes differently. So that's definitely like a thing, but I don't know like the terminology for it.
It's 100% a thing, and I think I had very similar experiences to that, Asia. There's like, oh, you don't hear that, and what I have, I believe the term is intonation. And how you are hearing the note and how you reproduce the note is your level of intonation. And I think that like there are, I mean, I'm not gonna say no names, but there are a couple of singers that come to mind, and I'm like, they are immensely talented, but like there's some intonation problems because they're not hearing. They're either not hearing the music or they're not hearing the note that they're producing. Right? It could be both
Yep.
in some instances, and
Mm.
it's yeah. It there's and then there's all these other terms. There's perfect pitch, and that's when you can hear a note and remember it for years, right? You can hear any note and you know exactly what that note is, know exactly where it is on the scale and all that stuff. That I think requires a lot more knowledge than I possess. And then there's relative pitch, and that's when, and I think that's probably what many singers have, which is that like you can play them a melody and they can repeat it. They couldn't tell you what those notes are, but they know how to give them back to you. Like
I
what
feel
is
like that's what level I'm at.
Ditto. I think it was Elton John. Elton John is like he's probably very now by now perfect pitch, but he was able to hear anything played on the piano and just play it back, um, like
Crazy.
almost perfectly. He could not at the time he didn't know all of the music theory and all of the stuff to like find the sheet music and show what he did. But if you played anything, he could play it back, and it's that kind of level is like savant genius level. Like oh you're just meant to make music. Like that's just what
Mm.
that's your whole
Yeah, like
purpose.
that's your destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I think that when it comes down to what you're describing, Jen, is just intonation and where you fall on that scale.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you guys for that. Asia, genre of music for you. For our listeners, I know Asia because my husband collaborated with her, most notably on a video or song called No Energy, which I think
Yes.
is your latest EP, correct? That's the most recent one.
Yeah. That was my
Okay.
latest EP. Yes.
Um, and
Art.
I just want to give you your flowers. I absolutely love your voice. And
Oh,
my
thank
husband will
you.
tell you, I do not like a lot of people's voices, okay? Like, I
That's
don't.
fair.
But your voice, like, I live in like, your tone, your flow, your all the things, like, I live there. Like I'm like, oh my God, when I heard, I was like, yes, this is me. Um, I know you liken yourself to Janae Aiko.
Yeah.
I believe that you have more of a range than Miss Aiko does.
Oh my God,
Um,
really? That means so
yeah,
much. I've been trying to
I
work on that.
I do. I know. Okay. Um, so you have just a very airy, like warm, like voice, and it just really speaks to me. I know, different people, like different singers speak to different listeners. Yours
Right.
definitely speaks to me. Can you tell me
Thank you.
about how you knew what genre of music to sing? Or am I missing some areas of genres that you do sing? I know you to be an R&B soul singer.
Yeah, that's where I usually make all of my music is in that area, R&B and soul. Um, my grandma and my mom are the people that raised me, and they listen to R&B mostly, especially my grandma. I have a younger grandma. She's was kind of young, so she listened to like late 80s R&B, and my mom listened to like 90s R&B, and I guess it just really appealed to me, and it that's where I gravitate to. Like when I hear a melody, I usually gravitate to those particular melodies. There are certain times where I like deviate, but for the most part, that's what calls me.
That's what calls you. Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay, I want to get you guys' opinion on this YouTuber who made a video about how to sing like a Black R&B artist. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on a second.
All right, now before you do this,
I already know. Yes.
what kind of person am I about to see?
You're about to see a Negro.
Okay, break. Fine. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna ask that. Yeah.
Good.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Oh, I saw this person before.
Oh, you have.
Not this
Okay.
video, but I saw him before.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So let me be even more specific. The title of this YouTube video, which has over 130,000 views, how to
Wow.
sing like Black people, sing with an authentic R&B accent, singing heck. I just want your immediate thoughts after. Okay.
You. Tip number two, if there's a particular artist that you wish to emulate, listen not only to the melody and lyrics of their song, but also listen to how the lyrics are sung. Let's take, for example, John Legend here. Does he sing it like, all of me loves all of you? Or is it more like, all of me loves all of you? See what I mean? The difference in sound there is largely because of a difference in accent. And this is easier for people who are younger. You know, early on in your language development, if you're listening to a lot of good music with a particular style, it almost becomes like you're bilingual. That's probably why Adele can sing the way she does, being a British woman, because as a British girl, she listened to this type of music and mimicked it, and it became sort of like a second language, actually adopting an American sort of sound when you sing. Tip number three.
So I found that to be so interesting. And honestly, like when he started singing like John Legend, I was about to crack up because I had so many emotions. But I understand what he was trying to say. And I had always thought, like, particularly with Adele or other British artists, I'm like, how is it that they're singing like with an American accent? I always thought it was something magical. I was like, oh my God, singing changes their accent, you know? But 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 it's intentional, right? So Kiarri, what are your immediate thoughts after watching that video?
um, I agree with a lot of the things he said. To be honest, if not everything, at least in that short clip, he's absolutely right. Right. And the emulation, who you listen to matters. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Whitney is my go-to. Period. Point blank. I'll fight a whole army. Like I don't even need a dragon. Just get me Whitney, and I'd be fine. Like I will take out a whole army. And I only say that because I was just watching House of the Dragon earlier today. But um, who you Whitney famously said, or during interviews when she was being asked how she was brought up, Whitney always went back to her upbringing. Right? She's like, I grew up listening to my mother, a beautiful gospel soprano, right? And my mother told me when I wanted to sing, if you want to be great, watch the greats, learn the greats. And so she says she watched Barbara, she watched Aretha, she listened to Dion, she really listened to what they sang, how they sang it, and what they did, right? Because they each had their own thing. And she was like, I didn't want to mimic them. I wanted to take from them and make it my own. Um, and yeah, who you watch and what you listen to absolutely matters. And I
Big
fully
time.
believe that Adele was definitely a little 7-year-old British girl running around the yard, like listening on her Walkman to Whitney and Tony and yeah, definitely listen. I'm sure she's listened to Tony Braxton,
Come on,
just
Tony
because
Braxton.
the
Yes.
the colors of Adele's voice, um, in Adele's voice, yeah, it's you're right. And John Legend is a whole different thing. He's a whole different thing. He don't sing nothing. He don't sing no lyrics right. I mean, in the best way, like in the way like you hear John. You can hear John Legend from anywhere, and that's a John Legend song.
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like it's unmistakable. And he knows this. Like he's not even.
Yeah.
It's it. He he almost sings in cursive, like
Right.
But it is undeniably and unmistakably him. So if you want to sound like John, if you want that, you gotta listen to him to hear what he does. And as again another Whitney, she's like how he bends the note. Whitney really like to say, "I bent that note." Like you don't got to tell me what to sing. I know what I'm about to do. Period. That kind of stuff.
Side note, really quick. I can't stand John Legend. That's my arch nemesis in my head. Okay. I really, he get on my nerves. I just, again, side note. I'm sorry to take y'all down here, okay? But you did it to me because you did it. I don't believe him.
You played the clip.
I did play the clip, but now I'm super triggered. I don't believe John Legend. I believe he stole that from somebody. He's the real life Ariel, okay? Or no, Ursula. He's Ursula, okay?
Ursula.
He's out here stealing voices because he's not cool enough to sing like that. So that's just me in my mind, okay? And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
It would be interesting to find out who John Legend listened to growing up.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't
Exactly.
I don't think I know.
Yeah, he may have talked about it, but yeah, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that would be very curious answer to hear.
It would be. It would be.
Also, the end of that clip kind of remind me of what you said earlier, Jen, about when you said Jamie Foxx said he hears people like in a singy thing, and what he said at the end of the clip was kind of similar to what you were referencing earlier.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So Asia, with you gearing more towards R&B and soul, because you said it calls you, do you feel like you mimic anybody, or have you found your voice?
I think I'm in between right now. But I used to mimic, I think Aaliyah was one of the first voices that piqued my interest as a little kid. I was probably like 5 years old, maybe, I don't know, super young. But I think I would mimic her a lot when I first started to sing. And so now I think it like when I hear certain beats or tones, I think that's kind of like my go-to, kind of like Kiarri when you said Whitney. I think I go to that Aaliyah type route, or maybe Sade, but yeah, it would be those two that like just, so those vibes, any type of song that has those certain elements is what I'll just naturally gravitate to.
Okay. Kiarri, do you feel the same way?
In terms of like who to like I mimic and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you feel like you mimic anybody, or have you found your own voice?
I feel very similar to Asia. Like yes, mimicking, yes, my own voice. It very, and it also depends on like what I'm singing, right? Like it, if
Yeah.
I'm and where I'm singing, right? Because if it's like a one-off, like open mic kind of thing, then I feel like I probably sing more like myself. But if I'm like in a show and this is something I had to break myself of, and it came up again just recently in this production. Like you listen to like the cast recording so much that it has just a way of seeping into your head, and like you find yourself doing like what they did, and then I have to fight that a lot. I have to break that up a lot for myself. So in that fight, I think I kind of find my own voice. It's a weird thing. Asia, I love the fact that you were like Aaliyah and Sade, because like so they're two such different singers that have really interesting qualities in connection. Like as soon as you said that, I'm like, okay, so I haven't heard you yet. I plan on it. Jen already knows I plan on it. But like even describing it, I was like, okay, so there's like a sweetness to her voice. There's a lightness. There's an airiness. What my head went to was like Halle Bailey, like very very similar to just that really pretty, almost like siren. Like I love, similar to Jen. I love that. That is, you can listen to that anytime, and it's fine. Like you in the morning, in the evening, at supper time, it's great. Like yeah.
What I think is so special about this conversation is I'm talking to a musical theater singer, Kiarri, and I'm talking to, I guess I would call it a recording artist,
Yeah,
right, Asia?
Yeah, exactly.
So when it comes to you, Kiarri, it's especially interesting because when I asked you about finding your own voice, in my head, actually, I was thinking, well, that would actually be kind of difficult because you're acting, you're embodying a character. And so while you're singing, it's almost like you have to be considerate of how this character would
Mm-hmm.
sing in a particular moment to a particular person
Mm-hmm.
or audience. So, is there even any room realistically for you to find your voice in those instances?
Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It is, you can bring your own into it, but like let me see, like, okay, like Hamilton. Everybody knows Hamilton now, right? Like, so yeah, Hamilton, yeah. But if I went in singing like, uh, no one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, it's like, okay, you're
Hmm.
not wrong, but it's not right, right? And so like you always, exactly as you said, Jennifer, you have to bend it a little bit to meet the style of the show and what that character would do. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
again, this is why casting, while it can be really frustrating, it it's something they have to do in order to create the show, right? To build the experience for the audience. And everybody knows, everybody's seen somebody who was miscast. They're not untalented, but it's just like, oh, that wasn't that's not your bag, babe. That's not for you, boo. And even in the same show, like you could have went run roll over and been perfect.
Mm.
But here you are, and now here we are, all just mad at each other. Yeah, it's you finding your own voice. You can bring what you bring to it, and but you still have to serve the show. You still have to serve the character.
So, Asia, as a recording artist, I am always fascinated with whether or not you're even allowed to find your voice because in the business of music, they want to sell music. And a lot of times, the people that are entering these contracts with creatives like yourself, they like to always look at what was done in the past and what was successful, and they want to carbon copy that, right? So, in your journey as a musical artist, how have you been able to navigate having to find your voice? Do you feel supported in the industry to do that?
Honestly, finding your voice in the music industry as an independent artist is just one of the hardest things ever because it's a lot of second guessing because you could put yourself out there and your music can be really good and you can have a really great voice and you still won't get like what you think you'll get from that. Like it could sound amazing, but if people don't really know who you are, then it really doesn't mean much. And you can be a super talented person. And it's really unfortunate, but finding your voice, you have to have courage and you have to just be bold and not care what people think because otherwise you will slip into like sounding what's trending or sounding like someone who like you'll see someone whose voice is working and you want to try to like mimic that because it may work out for you. I understand that appeal, but it's way more, it takes a lot more courage to just stand in your voice and in your authentic voice and keep standing in it until people pay attention.
Okay. Okay. All right. We are going to move on to a fun segment of this conversation. I'm calling it sustain, sing, or sang. Okay. You get some alliteration there. Okay. So sustain just means hold a note. Sing means they can sing, and sang means they can sing. So I'm gonna give you guys names of singers.
Go for it.
I know.
I'm going to give you guys names of singers that, in the public kind of have mixed reviews as to whether they can sustain, meaning again, hold a note, whether they can sing or sing. And I'm going to give them rapid fire to you. So I'm going to give you a name. Kiarri, I want you to say sustain, sing, or sang. Same thing with you, Asia. We're going to move on to the next person. And then we'll get into a little deeper as to why you said what you said about this particular people after the rapid fire. Okay, y'all ready?
Fine, yes.
Okay.
Careers, child. You're just ending.
I know, right? I'm not trying to. Come on. This is how you grow your fan base, because you have to be hot or cold on stuff. You have to be. Be firm. Be firm in your decisions.
Coming to real life. Let's do it.
Real life. Okay, let's do it.
All
Sustain, sing, or sang. First up, Jennifer Lopez.
I
Kiarri.
knew you were going to say that. I knew it was the first time. I knew it.
Kiarri.
Sustain.
Asia.
Sustain, for sure.
Okay. SZA. Kiarri.
Sing.
Asia.
I would also say sing.
Okay. Beyonce. Kiarri.
Sang.
Asia.
Sang / extraordinary / her own category / exceptional.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to coming back to that conversation. Go ahead.
Okay. Alicia Keys. Kiarri.
Sustain. We're not sustain.
Asia.
Sustain because.
No, because yeah.
Okay, sustain.
Pharrell. Kiarri.
Oh, sing.
Asia.
I don't know. He sounds good on those records, though. I don't know if I've seen him live, him live. So I'm gonna say sustain because I don't know. I haven't seen him live. I've seen him, hear him on the records, and he sounds great. I'm saying sustain.
Michael Jackson. Kiarri.
I'm saying.
Asia. Uh-huh.
Okay, things are dying. I want to make sure. Michael Jackson. Dang.
Yeah. Come on. 3 more. Jamie Foxx. Kiarri.
Ooh, this is interesting. When Jamie is singing as Jamie, sing. When he's singing as somebody else, sang.
Asia.
I would also agree. I wish I could say like in the middle, but yeah, he can sing, but he also can sing. He has it in him.
Hidden talent. Hidden saying talent, maybe. John Legend. Kiarri.
How? Sustain.
Oh my God, Jesus. I feel like I took that bullet. I'm not even him. Good Lord. Ooh. That's my arch nemesis and I'm hurt. Not even a sing. Okay, we coming back to that. Asia. John
Oh
Legend.
my God, yes, let's go back to that. I would say sing, but I want to know why you said sustain. That is so curious. I'm not really a John Legend fan, so I'm so curious.
Last one. Eddie Murphy. Kiarri.
Oh.
Right?
Halfway between sustain and sing.
Asia.
I would say sustain.
Okay. Who wants to kick it off as to where they want to start into their why?
You are. Fine. Okay. So.
Yeah, do it, Kiarri.
We'll go to John.
You said sustain. You said he could hold a note. He cannot sing, and sang is definitely out in the universe for him. Okay.
If I'm a slight amendment again, similar to Eddie, halfway between sustain and sing. And the reason even if I'm gonna stick to my guns and I'm gonna say sustain, right? But it's not that he's incredibly musically talented. He is. It's a special talent to sit behind a piano and sing. Like that is. It looks easy, but that is not easy to do.
Not at all.
No, I don't. His voice. His voice sounds like something. It's like, oh, here's an AI program that I taught to sing like a soul artist.
Interesting.
And it
Interesting.
are there moments where like, yes, but his voice, just for me, I understand why people like it and how it connects to them. It doesn't connect with me. That's all.
So are you saying, am I hearing you correctly? You don't like his voice. You just don't like it. It doesn't agree with you.
Yes. Yeah, very much. It's nothing against his talent, right? But no, I'm not. I don't think I might have, and I want to say I have several thousand songs downloaded on my Spotify. I might have a John Legend song in there.
Mm-hmm.
Might.
Same. Hey.
It's probably Good Morning Love. That's the only one I like. It's interesting because SZA is like that for me. I hate her voice. Like, it is horrible. I think her tone is terrible. I don't know where she's singing from. Like, again, I'm not y'all. I'm not a singer, but I know when something is like ridiculously off with me, either a vibe or something, and I feel like she's singing from like up here or something, like her, like these cheekbones. Like, it's not coming from the right place. So I feel like that's what you're saying with John Legend or something, you know? Okay, Asia, what about you? You said sustain. You said sustain for Alicia Keys. Yeah. What's that about?
Because that Super Bowl thing she did, what's that? That was this year.
Yeah.
And I just hearing that live, I know that they fixed it and I'm happy that they fixed it. But just hearing the way she, sounded live, I was like, okay, I feel like that's more like you can sustain a note. Because I just feel like maybe, not saying in the past she couldn't sing, but right now, that was recent, sounds more like sustain.
Interesting. Okay. And I know people have been talking about.
Did you hear it?
I heard it, but again, I don't have ears like you guys. So let me even give you context, okay? Alicia Keys meant so much to me because I remember exactly where I was when I first saw her and heard her. I was 16 years old at Bradley University in like a high school camp for journalists or something. Oh. Bradley is in Peoria, Illinois. And so I remember going to the cafeteria. I saw a TV erected on the wall, like one of those fat TVs. And it was like hanging from the ceiling. And her beautiful little self came on screen with these long, beautiful braids and the beads. And she was singing Fallen. And to my ears, I was like, oh my God, this girl can sing. And so then in the past 10 years, I've heard people say, this woman can't sing. What is going on? She can't hold a note. And I couldn't hear it. The only time I could hear the horrific nature, I guess, of what's going on with her voice was this year with the Super Bowl. Otherwise, you guys, I couldn't hear it. And I think it's because I'm not a singer like you guys. So maybe it has to be so terrible. I don't know the word for me to be like, oh, this doesn't sound right.
Also, it's really tricky, Jen, because like how we were talking about earlier, how when you're singing, it's a whole body thing. So like,
right.
It could be moments where that could have just been a bad performance. Because as a singer, that happens. Not every performance you're going to sound good. So maybe that Super Bowl performance that day, her voice just wasn't working out. And so if from someone's perspective who never heard her sing before, you would be like, okay, she can't sing. But we've heard her sing live before, like you were saying when she was younger. You're like, oh, she can sing. So it's just depending on like the perspective of the person who's hearing it, because for the first time you could hear SZA sing, and I've heard bad performances from SZA, and I've also heard good ones from SZA as well. So if I'm someone who never seen her perform before, and the first time I see her, she sounds crazy, I would be like, oh, she can't sing. Versus someone who saw her perform before another time, and she sounded good, and they're like, what? She can. So it gets a little bit tricky because sometimes singers have off days.
Yeah, a lot of them. Again,
I've
it's an imperfect instrument, right? And
Yep.
I've even heard, and I've heard women say like when they are going through their time, their voice changes,
Yeah,
their
I've heard that
period, their
too. Yeah,
period.
I've heard
and I'm
that.
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
that would suck. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just it's weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Hmm.
Even
Okay.
Rihanna, like her, I feel like her voice has changed. Like I know that she's had babies, and like even when she talk, her voice sounds
Hmm.
like very like deep and sultry, like a grown woman type of voice. Versus we heard her when she was younger, and it was like more younger sounding and more, higher pitched. So like singers are going through things as a human, and so like their voices is gonna change over time.
Of this batch, the last one that I am very curious about, only because she recently went viral with, I guess, again, trying to prove to people that she can sing or sang. I'm not sure which one she's trying to live up to. Y'all know where I'm going. But Miss Jennifer Lopez. Now, don't do her too bad because she and I have the same name. Okay. We Jennifers need to stick
Oh yeah,
together,
that's
first of all.
great. Yeah.
First of all,
Jenny
and
from the
she
block.
is, okay? And she is kind of a romantic comedy icon. So don't
Yes.
go too crazy on this woman. But if you want to go ahead. But I'm just warning you, okay? So, Jennifer Lopez, y'all. Remind me of what your answers were: sustain, sing, or sing. It wasn't saying, that's
Sustain.
for
I
sure.
think it was both sustain.
Both sustain, yeah.
The
Okay.
fade, yeah.
I
Asia.
Okay, Asia, please go.
Yeah. Asia, what's the deal? Why sustain for Jennifer Lopez?
I don't think, I think sustain is being really nice. So I don't think that she can hold a note personally. I don't think she can hold it.
Wow.
And also, like, she doesn't have, it's kind of like, as a singer, it's weird talking about singers in this way, but it's like when you hear her voice, you don't really hear, she doesn't have a lot of dynamic to her voice. And so for me, that's like a sustain.
One thing before I put it over to you, Kiari. Again, this is a hearing thing because, again, I don't have y'all's ears. When she came with this, I feel like that was her vocal coach. What's his name?
Stevie Mackey, Stevie, I think it is.
Stevie Mackey.
I want to say Stevie.
So recently she dropped a video of her singing a song with him. She sounded better than I normally, am used to sing, like hearing her. And I was like, oh, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. I think she can now sing, right? Like the technical term of singing, she can do it. Asia said, no, she's still at the sustain level. And in a way, it's kind of heartbreaking because I know she practices. My God, I know she practices. So, Kiari,
Yes.
why did you say sustain for Jennifer Lopez?
Okay. So one, I love J Lo. I
We do.
I love J Lo. I I was just saying this to somebody the other day. I love Jennifer Lopez. I I will watch a Jennifer Lopez rom com, and if it's emotional, I'll cry. I
All
am
the
Monster
time.
in
ready.
Law is my jam. I love Monster in
Listen,
Law.
Every
the first
time.
time I saw the wedding planner, I had just gotten dumped, and then she has a crying scene, and she's just like, most of the times I just think I wasn't enough, and I was like, that's how I felt too. That's how I felt too. And so like that was probably the moment where my love for Jennifer Lopez was just like solidified. Um,
But
in terms of singing, I think that I think that she can actually. She's one of those people who was taught to sing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's not a bad thing, right?
Not at all.
I if it, I don't think that if it was just her and a microphone, I don't know if she would feel as confident as she should. And a lot of there is an aspect of it that is confidence, right? Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen the clip with her and Steve V. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I haven't either.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna
but
check it.
I saw it come up on my timeline. I just didn't. I was scrolling and I didn't click it yet. But I know that she probably already felt more comfortable with him being there.
Mm-hmm.
They've worked together for years, and I feel like she relaxes a lot more around him. I think that Jennifer sings better on her own material, like especially if it's like a dance pop. She's a no matter what,
Yeah.
Jennifer's gonna perform her ass off. If she has to jump off the stage, if she's got to get in a car, come on, if she's got to do 4 costume changes in real time, she's gonna give you a show. Um, but it always her voice I think works better on something like a bop as opposed to like a sit down ballad. That's I just don't think that's her jam,
And that's okay, you know?
and that's okay. You know, I think Jennifer gets a lot of hate that she doesn't necessarily deserve.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is like hearsay. People are like, "Oh, she's mean, she's whatever."
She's
I'm like, "Y'all
rude,
don't know
yeah.
her. You hearing it 12th hand at this point. Like, I heard that she walked past a waiter once. Whoa! Like, what do you like? Calm down, people. I'm like, if you're gonna dislike her, if you're gonna dislike anybody, have a good reason.
Have a good reason.
You know, I think that people really like hate her a lot because of vocal, um, the vocal dubbing stuff as she was
With
starting her career.
Ashanti, mm-hmm.
People still hold on to that. I'm like, y'all don't know, y'all weren't concerned about it back then. You worried about it. People's mind can change, but come on, y'all.
Yeah, because those songs were a hit now. Like, I
Yeah,
understand Ashanti was good, but those songs were still a hit. So,
and I think that
Wait, put
Jennifer has
me
fallen into vocalist
hold
mode.
on, you guys. Provide some context. What is this now? Ashanti and Jennifer?
Whatever Jennifer's, I can't remember her first big songs or whatever. Um, they had vocals done by Ashanti on them. And I believe, and Asia, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Jennifer's vocals were dubbed over Ashanti's, and like, but you can still clearly hear the Ashanti in it.
exactly. Like, you can hear her Ashanti underneath. Like, you can
Mhm.
hear it.
And it's a
Hmm.
pretty common thing to be completely honest. Like people dub
Yeah.
vocals all the time, and so like people are saying that like she stole like that success should have been Ashanti's and yada yada, and I'm like they can both be themselves and be fine. And to hold that over Jennifer when like she was the person in the booth, like she wasn't the person behind the table, like she didn't mix that. And so I don't know, it's I think she gets a lot of hate, but in terms of her vocally, I think that when she is really comfortable, I think that she can actually do pretty good when she's by herself and it's like a ballad or emotional moment. I go back to like what Asia said. Her voice loses a lot of dynamics,
Hmm.
and it's very. I'm I'm singing. I'm singing the notes, and these are the notes, and I'm singing this now, and I'm doing this here, kind of like Drake in all his points of his life.
You don't get the connection. Like, you don't connect to what she's singing when
Yeah,
she does that. Also, I feel like as a singer, you gotta pick the songs for your voice. Like, you
it's a
do. And
lot of it.
sometimes I feel like she just doesn't pick the right songs for her voice, you know?
What
Well,
does
and
she need? Like Kiarri mentioned the dance records. Let's Get Loud. Love Don't Cost a Thing. You know, are those the songs that you think she should stick to?
Yeah.
Not the waterfalls, right?
Yeah. Because, like, everyone has certain ranges. And sometimes
Yes.
I understand you want to challenge yourself as a singer, but sometimes you just got to have self-awareness as a singer and just know
Mhm.
when a song isn't for you. It happens.
Interesting.
It happens a lot. But if I can wish anything for us, is that we would all have the confidence of Jennifer Lopez all the time.
That part,
All
okay?
the time. I
That
pray
part.
that for everyone. Live your
All
Yes.
the
life.
time.
Right. Live your life as full as you can. Live your life like Jennifer Lopez would.
Yes, she is living it up, honey.
Yes, she is. Yes,
Regardless of
she
what people
is.
saying, she's like, I don't care, and I'm gonna do it anyway.
And I'm going to do it anyway. Listen.
All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up soon. We are a little bit over time. Thank you, guys. So 2 more questions. One is, what would you like to add, if anything, about singing?
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? I didn't expect this question.
I know, like singing is so like intricate and it just depends on the individual. And so overall, for people who don't sing, I would say singing is way more than what you think it is. It's way
Mm.
because my sister, she's someone who she's not really a music person, and so she hears music and she's like, "Oh, it sounds cool." Whereas me, I'm like, "No, but did you hear that?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds cool too." And so just from someone who like doesn't really care about music, and that's okay. Singing is way more than just pretty sounds coming out of your voice. Like for the singer, it's like a whole body experience. And mad respect for singers because it's really hard to sustain and sing and sing.
And
Kiari.
I would add, go to karaoke. Everybody should do karaoke. Karaoke is one of my favorite things in the world.
Same. I love it.
It's
But see, wait, hold on. Let me stop you right there. See, this is triggering me. Because for somebody who can kind of sort of sustain, when I go to karaoke, I want to hear fellow kind of sort of sustainers or bad singers. And here y'all come. Asia and Kiarri up here singing pitch for pitch, melody for melody. Aretha Franklin,
Okay,
Whitney Houston, all that. Karaoke is not for real singers.
I don't really
Sorry,
sing in
ma'am.
karaoke though. I like rap because of that. Because I want it to be fun too. Because I might take it
Okay.
too serious because I'm a
Okay.
singer, so I might get up there and act like it's my tour. So I'm like, all right, I wanted to keep it fun. So I usually rap actually when I go to karaoke. And it's still so fun for me. I love it.
and I try to sing a song that I would like never do in an audition or never really do on stage. And so like I want to do things that are as a singer and any sort of like a recording artist or musical theater or whatever, there is an aspect of competition involved, right? And it's
Yes.
you're not actively competing against each other, but there are forces that are doing that for you, right? Like
Yeah.
if I'm going into an audition, it's me and all these other guys vying for this one role. So there is a competitive aspect to it. And so you do get in your head a bit and you want to get great and
Mm-hmm.
you want to be as perfect as possible.
Yep.
Karaoke, all that goes out the door, right? I get to just have fun. I'm a act a fool. I'm gonna probably roll on the ground, right?
Yes.
I'm a, and then I've learned how to do more things vocally because I let myself do it in karaoke, and I
Oh,
didn't.
that's
I was like,
fun.
oh, I can sing that. Why have I not been like? Why have I been holding myself back? And that's why I like karaoke. Karaoke is the ultimate release for everybody. Like go, everybody should go to karaoke and sing your heart out. Cause
Sing
who
it out.
cares?
Who
Like
cares?
who cares? And that's what I want more people to take away from like singing. Go to karaoke.
Yes, I love that. Love it.
I do too. I know I said like one more question, but I must ask another one, okay?
Oh my God,
Because it is
yes.
screaming out of me, okay? In both of your eyes, I'm just like, they must sing. Like they must. Is there something in you that's like, I have to sing? Like, I have to get this gift out of me. Is that even an option for you? Or must you sing? Yeah.
You mean like in general?
Yeah, in general. is it like this? I don't even know how to describe it, but this
That is a really
busting
great
out,
question.
you know?
It honestly, I think it's you and it just calls you. Sometimes you wake up and it's just you have a song in your head automatically first thing when you wake up.
That's
So
that
like
too.
yeah,
If you wake up and the first thing you think about is singing, then you'll sing a girl. Like that's what it is. So like I'll put it to you like this: when I haven't sang in a long time, I miss it.
yeah. Oh man.
Miss
Like you
it.
said, when you're sick, oh my God, it's torturous. I can't
Like
sing.
I just like it is. Because and again, singing connects me to my mother. Singing connects me to my ancestors. Singing connects me to it's so much more than just, as Asia said, just making sounds. And it when I can't do it, I hope, and like my greatest fear, one of my greatest fears is like losing my voice forever,
Oof, yes.
because I have all of this music in my head that I then couldn't get out. That it would almost feel like suffocating,
Oh
like
yeah.
not being able to sing. I it is I again I it is so in me that I would miss it so much.
Yeah.
I'd
The
miss it.
thought of it, even like the thought of that is crazy. Like it's just so crazy.
Like I'm getting choked up like about something that's not happening right now. I
Exactly. Like
wanna
it's just so close and near and dear to you. It's just like, oh, the thought of that being taken away. Like imagine Ursula taking my voice. Like what?
I'm like, Ariel
Torture.
girl, give a leg. You
Take my leg, not my
Take your leg
voice.
for
you
real.
still get around, girl. Like you can
Right. You'll make it work. But yeah, I feel you all the way. It really just comes out of you. Like you just feel the urge to sing. All times. It don't even matter. You just feel it. It just comes out.
And lastly, for real, where can our listeners find you? Asia, let's
Um,
start
for
with
me,
you.
little Instagram. I don't do a whole. I need to record myself singing more, honestly. But I get real critical. So, but Instagram, Kiarri Dashell, KIARRI Kiarri Dashell.
Asia.
yes, it's at Ashia Vu everywhere. It's ASHIAVU.
Wait,
And aren't you a part of Lita as well?
Yes, I am. I have a super talented collective of other musicians and friends who play various instruments, and we get together and we record live performances. And we go by the name of Lita, which is Love is the Answer. And we try to focus on singing uplifting songs surrounding about love and self journey and things like that.
Thank you so much to our guests for joining me, and thank you for listening. This episode was edited by Edonis Bakaj, hosted and executive produced by me, Jennifer Brown, produced by Latrice Love, and distributed by Black Owned Productions. I hope you'll join me again on another episode. The Curiosity Podcast is a safe space to not only explore my curiosity of all the things, but yours as well. And together, we get to dig a little deeper as to why that curiosity exists in the first place.